Welcome to Bürkert. My name is Chris Hoey. Bürkert has been an innovator in the process automation industry for over 70 years. During the last 20 years, we've had a very close partnership with another German company, a company called Siemens. I had the opportunity recently to chat with Leonie Wong of Siemens. Let's have a look at that interview. Hey Leonie, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks Chris. So good to be here.
No worries, welcome. Your role, Head of Digital Enterprise, can you explain a little bit about what that entails?
Yes, indeed. So the digital enterprise is really about how do we enable Industry 4.0 and the industrial Internet of Things and digitalisation. How do we make these things real for our customers? So at Siemens, the digital enterprise is about combining the offerings of our hardware and our software in conjunction with our services to see how we can make digitalisation real for our customers.
That's quite interesting, and it's quite telling in how the world's changing with regards to that integration of information technology and operational technology. Many customers struggle to see, they see the advantages of digitization in some areas, but they struggle to see it add value to them and their processes. What do you think about that?
Oh, okay. I think that the reason that there is some type of hesitation around taking that leap towards going on a digital transformation journey is because some customers don't quite understand exactly what that means for them. And that's probably because digital transformation means different things to different customers. Different users will have different needs about what they need out of the plant data. And so because of that, no two customers are going to go on the same digital transformation journey. So you can't really copy and paste somebody else's journey. You have to be able to define your own. And because this is a little bit uncharted and a little bit new, there is a little bit of resistance and fear around that. But that's why we're here, because we support so many different customers in so many different markets, ranging from food and beverage to water, wastewater, to pharmaceutical, to chemical. So we've seen it all before. And we're happy to, support people on the various journeys that digital transformation can take.
Yeah, that's very good, and it's quite telling. My personal belief is that the transformation is amplifying very fast, or it's travelling very fast right now, because also we have a change in our workforce, where over the next 10 years, the baby boomers will all be gone, which is probably 70% of senior engineering managers and the like, and we'll see millennials start to take over this automation area. Those millennials are probably a lot less patient, and they're going to look at things and saying, they're not going to go to the old manual. They're going to want asset management. They're going to want to be able to log on. They want to see their firmware updates, and they want to see it all from their iPad or something similar. Do you think that the changing workforce is also driving this?
Yeah, the evolving workforce is definitely a driving factor in why digital transformation is so important, because as we see some of the older workers who have been involved in a plant or factory for multiple years, sometimes even decades, when they retire, they take with them so much knowledge about the operation of that factory. So being able to use technology to embed some of that knowledge into the operations, so that way new people who come into these environments have the generations of knowledge at their fingertips.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the advantages will be seen, when you can log on from a central point and be able to see right down into the the sensors and actuators right throughout your plant without having to go and stand in the rain with the door open or the lid off. So it makes makes a huge difference. It's around 20 years now that Bürkert and Siemens have been working together with integration, which started with the ET200S. We noticed that Siemens has put a lot into their new platform, the ET200SP, and of course the SPHA version. Can you tell us a little bit about where Siemens sees this series running into the future?
Sure. So the ET200SP and ET200SPHA are the remote I/O platforms which are offered by Siemens, and it's really about having a compact footprint, because as you know, real estate inside a cabinet is very expensive. So being able to offer the most compact design that ties in really nicely with the Bürkert valve automation technology, I think offers a lot of benefits to industry. So what we have here is our ET200SP remote I/O platform. what I think is really cool about the ET200SP and ET200SP HA platform is that they are very compact in design, and the advantage that that offers to integrators, electricians, and installation people is that you are saving space, and any space that you can save inside a cabinet is always a good thing.
And the SP and SPHA as well have quite a lot of digital information available in the background, like all their asset management and diagnostic data. Can you tell us a little bit about that? You know, apart from the cyclic process data, what else you can get from these IO platforms?
We are able to get very accurate information of the number of times that these valves have been operated. So when it comes to asset management and being able to understand how much these assets have been used, to be able to understand their behavior and to be able to plan predictive maintenance, having that insight of the usage cycles is very valuable.
Yeah, that's good. And it's quite an interesting feature as well. They didn't just put the usage cycles of the pilot valve, but also the usage cycles of the field valve, because whilst the pilot valve will do maybe 50 million cycles before it needs to be changed, the field valve may be a butterfly or something like that, which maybe needs to have the lining changed every 50,000 cycles. So you have those two counts available to you, which is an area where it can create real value for a customer.
Mm. And also having that made natively available to be displayed on an operator panel is also just one of those things that Siemens and Bürkert together is about, making that information easier to access and easier to have available for better.
Bürkert now have the integration with the ET200S, which has been available for quite some time now, and we've done some very large projects in Australia with that technology. But we've also now got the full integration into the SP, as well as the SPHA, and also, of course, the ET200 ISP for hazardous applications. So this gives us quite a broad scope of connectivity to Siemens. Is there value that we've created working together as partners at a global level that you know of?
I think by being able to offer interconnectivity on all of our platforms, from the ET200S through to our ET200SP, our ET200SPHA, and the intrinsically safe versions, means that customers across a number of industries can have access to the lovely technology that we've got here tied in together. That means that customers using Step 7 Classic, customers using TIA Portal, and even customers using PCS7 will be able to take advantage of this.
Yeah, and that's a big advantage, and especially when we consider, if we look at pharmaceutical, if we look at food and beverage, if we look at water treatment, around about up to 30% of outputs are pneumatic. So in the past, and with many other systems, it's ignored, and you have to put a third-party system in and connect to it some other way. With the Siemens Bürkert integration, that becomes all integrated into the one network.
Yep. Having technology that is designed to work together significantly reduces the risk when it comes to commissioning. As you know, when there are third-party products that can work together but are not natively designed to do so, that can create a little bit of risk in when you're trying to actually get it working. So by being able to have a technology that is natively designed to work together reduces the amount of risk associated with commissioning windows. The strength of the knowledge of the two different parties being able to come together, and by being able to have them natively work together, means that installation and commissioning times can be significantly reduced, and we can have confidence in scheduling that a production window can commence rather than having an unforeseen delay.
That's excellent. And it's not just at the commissioning stage, it's also at the maintenance stage, because as an example, the SP series, the IO modules are actually hot swappable. And Bürkert has carried this forward with its valves and has the option of having full hot swap valve assemblies as well, even under full operating pressure. So in the event of a problem or an issue, it's also that fast integration that is across the whole platform.
In the absolutely unfortunate event that something was to go wrong with the hardware, hot swapping is a very valuable feature because you don't want to have any type of disruption. So particularly in a process environment where downtime just isn't necessarily possible due to the continuous nature of a process automation application, being able to hot swap out any of the technology in the event of an unforeseen failure definitely helps to increase overall uptime. and quality of the product that's being produced.
So with this great technology, one of the things that I've always been, how can I say, excited about is that it gets rid of the concept of an IO block, or it gets rid of the concept of a valve island and brings it into what is an integrated IO cluster, or an integrated cluster. So in other words, if it is say a pre-filtration room, you can actually have valves, sensors, analytics and everything all built into a single panel, which drastically reduces your size, drastically reduces your cost, and potentially all of those different technologies onto a single Profinet or Profibus communication.
In response to that, I do think that it's so important that as technology providers to industry, that we are very conscious of the fact that cost is always going to be a factor. So by being able to have things natively tied in together, by being able to reduce the space inside a cabinet, and also being able to have features like the hot swapping and all of that, it really is sending a message to industry that we are here to support them in the long term. The long-term sustainability and viability of manufacturing in Australia is enabled by having these smart solutions.
Yeah, and that cost is amplified as well by not having multiple nodes. Obviously, one Profinet can now do valves, sensors, analogs, digitals, the whole lot. So it makes it more cost effective. So when you only have one node per panel, which means your infrastructure costs go down as well as the panel costs.
And also the complexity as well. By having reduced complexity in the traditional systems where you would have to separate these things out, whenever anything was to go wrong, it could be a real nightmare to diagnose. But the great thing with Profinet is all the embedded diagnostics and features which tell you exactly what's going wrong. So that way, if anything was to fail, pinpointing the exact cause and being able to remedy that as quickly as possible is absolutely amazing.
And all, of course, compatible with the media redundancy protocol.
So with MRP, which is media redundancy protocol, it means that in the event that anything was to be disconnected, there is no loss of communication. It means that comms is still maintained, operation still continues, and peace of mind is assured.
That's right, because and MRP gives you that ability to have a ring topology where, you have that full redundancy in the event of a cable failure. So it makes it a nice, safe installation in an industrial area where people carry around bars and pipes, and forklifts maybe hooting around as well. So it's important to maintain that safety and connectivity. Yeah, but on the wall behind us, we actually have set up the PLC, the touchscreen, and we have a switch there as well, also Siemens. And we've got the SP, the SPHA here, and also the ISP, which is just a little bit further out of camera over there. Then, of course, from that Profinet, we're also running ASSI. We're also running IO-Link as well. So from that one touchscreen, we can actually control right across different networks and quite a range of different digitally connected products. So on this big wall behind me, we have around about 400 IO and not a single analog on the whole wall. So it gives you a little bit of an idea on where the industry is changing.
I think the real comment on that is by using bus technologies such as Profibus and also the Ethernet-based Profinet also simplifies installation. So not only do you get the additional information that's carried through Profinet in diagnostics and all that type of thing, but just the simplified installation of having everything on Profinet as well.
Leonie, how deeply integrated is the pneumatics into the ET200 SP?
The real benefit to the integrators by being able to select Bürkert items within TIA portal is that as part of their design, they can already understand how things are going to look, how things are going to work. So again, from a planning and engineering perspective, that you do reduce the complexity and you do also save time.
Okay, so we've got this whole digitally connected plant. We've got obviously our cyclic data, and we've got a lot of other data we can now get to as well. What do we do with all this data?
And this is often one of the key questions in any digital transformation journey. So one of the platforms that we offer is an industrial IoT platform called MindSphere. And what MindSphere can do is that it can collect all of this valuable data on what's going on with your various valve banks and be able to capture and analyze that, so that way for things like predictive maintenance and condition monitoring, we can have better insight on what's going on with our plant. Also, being cloud-based, it means that from an end user perspective, there's very little infrastructure that's actually required to be able to enable this technology. Really, all it is just an edge device that is able to capture the data that's already being generated and push that into the cloud. So there's very little IT infrastructure. There's very little when it comes to software licenses. So having a cloud-based IoT platform to be able to capture this data makes that transition into digital transformation just that little bit easier as well for our customers.
Okay, so the data's all is stored in MindSphere. Does MindSphere actually act on that data, or does it just give you visualization, ways to read it? How does it, what can we achieve with that?
Yeah, sure. So aside from storing the data, there are what we call MindSphere applications, which can be used to do visualization and analytics as well.
Okay. And what about machine learning and artificial intelligence?
Oh, this is just where things get really exciting. I think that when it comes to machine learning and artificial intelligence, there's so much possibility there. And that really leads into what we think is one of the possibilities of the factory of the future, the whole ability of being able to have a lights out factory where there are almost zero people, because you've got so much intelligence built into the technology that a factory can almost run with the lights out. If you look at the lights out factory, it's not about putting people out of jobs. I don't want people to fear that digital transformation is going to result in jobs being lost. It's really about jobs being repurposed, because in Australia, we have got such a wonderful workforce of very intelligent people who are probably only using a capacity of their talent, like a very small capacity of their talent in their actual job. So by being able to remove some of the manual tasks that are repetitive in nature and being able to use things like machine learning and AI to free up the person to be able to come up with better ways of doing things and to be able to free up their capabilities to really look at potential future innovation, I think that's the real power of a lights out factory. So it's not something to be scared of, but really something that we should be looking forward to.
And it's also by repurposing like that and using technology to support our manufacturing, it is going to be a great support, especially for Australian manufacturing, to be competitive on a global workplace.
The tie-in that exists between Bürkert and Siemens is just a classic example of Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is about having interconnected technologies that enable data to be generated and captured and used. And this is a perfect example of us working together to enable that.
Can you think of anything else, Leonie?
I think this has been a really comprehensive discussion. I really like the fact that here we have two German real powerhouses of technology being able to come together and collaborate for the benefit of industry. So it's really great to be able to push that into the Australian market.
Thank you very much, Leonie. It's been fantastic talking to you today, and thanks for sharing some of your insights with us. And hopefully the relationship with Bürkert will go for another 20 years and more.
To 20 years and beyond, to infinity and beyond. Thanks, Chris.
No worries. See you.
I hope you enjoyed this Bürkert Byte video. There's a number in the series. I hope you take the opportunity to watch them all. And if you do have an application, our local engineering team is here to support you. Thanks.